मेरे बोले तो अशोक के साथ आज मिर्ची मेहमान यहाँ पर एक ऐसी शख्सियत है, एक ऐसा इंसान है जो कि जैसे कि हम सारे के सारे ऑलमोस्ट बहुत सारे लोग यहाँ पर आते हैं इंडिया से आईटी में जॉब करने के लिए, लेकिन ये सज्जन, ये साहब भी उसी ड्रीम के साथ आए थे एंड यहाँ पर आकर अपने आप को इन्होंने एक दूसरे एंगल में डिविएट किया है। गलत नहीं होगा अगर मैं आपसे कहूँ कि इन्होंने आईटी को और एग्रीकल्चर को मिक्स किया है। 2016 में ये आए थे, यानी कि आज से तकरीबन 8 साल पहले ये यहाँ पर आए और अब इनके पास अलग अलग स्टेट्स में एग्रीकल्चर को लेकर पता नहीं कितनी लैंड है और ये चाहते हैं कि लोगों में ये अवेयरनेस फैलाएं और यही एक रीज़न रहा है दैट आई हैव गॉट हिम हियर विथ मी एज अ मिर्ची मेहमान टुडे सो दैट वी कुड एजुकेट यू ऑन एग्रीकल्चर एज वेल. व्हाट आर द बेनिफिट्स दैट यू कुड लुक अप and how is it that you also could be a part of it? First of all, let me welcome here with me our MirchiMehman for today. That is Sasi Kanth Vallem. Sasi, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Ashok. Thank you for inviting me here.
Any day. Sasi, in fact, you know what? We look on at people like you know, who have a different thought process in your mind. We go out on a drive, we see, you know, acres and acres of land, but I do not know how many people have actually thought of what you are actually doing. How did this all begin, Sasi, if you don't mind telling all our listeners?
Perfect. So I've been into IT for over 25 years and something really intrigued me when I moved from Switzerland back to Bangalore, the way of growing vegetables on the terraces. And with the limited resources, with the limited space, the terrace gardening has been a thing in Bangalore. So when I looked at the engineering aspects and electronic aspects of that, it really intrigued me, and then I got into that and started with some of the terrace garden setup business and also the precision farming, the growing vegetables in a controlled environment and producing more from less. That's how I got into the entire world of gardening and farming.
Well, I have a question. Yeah. Sasi, does your family have anything to do with farming? I come from a family of farmers.
Yeah.
So do you have anything?
Like most of us, we have the farmlands back in India. I come from a place called Mandapeta in Andhra Pradesh, and my forefathers and fathers, we are into farming. While we may not be hands-on farming there, we have farmlands, and I grew up looking at all the farms around.
So how come 25 years of IT and now all of a sudden that switch? I'm sure, you know, all my listeners right now would want to know this.
Right. From the job perspective, because of the IT revolution, we got into IT, which is a big thing that had happened for us, and we were able to make money out of it. But back in the heart, the growing plants is something which is always there in our minds. Because
Correct.
We have been seeing farmlands, and wherever you go in India, you see farmlands. Right, and with our backgrounds in farming, it's a natural thing that we get attracted to that.
Correct.
So that's how I got attracted, and then started looking into this. And one thing I've realized is, from the pure brain perspective, mind perspective, something that grows when you sleep is the farm.
Right.
It's your plants.
Right.
So in the other jobs, you have to be working to make money. And
yes.
This is something which can make money when you sleep.
Perfect. That is so. Well, I'm sure when you say that you've been in the IT industry for 25 years. So I'm sure that you've also you've traveled across the globe very well, right?
Yeah. So I lived in Singapore for 3.5 years, Switzerland for 3.5 years, thanks to the IT consulting jobs. And throughout my IT, I learned a lot in terms of optimizations, automations, and doing more with less resources, and extracting the best out of the resources that we have. So I have started looking into farming and trying to see how we could implement the same concepts here into farming. That's how my IT has helped, and structuring businesses that are close to the hearts of people, so that we utilize the collective capital of people and make a big farming venture. So that's a great correlation between my IT background and the farming.
This is precisely what I told you earlier, a combination of two great worlds,
Absolutely.
The IT and agriculture, what our forefathers, our in fact ancestors have always seen. A culmination of these two, we would be talking more about it. Let me also remind you, this is not a commercial thing. ये एक ज्ञान की बात है, क्योंकि ये धरती ही है. सुनील शेट्टी मुझे याद आ गए, ये धरती मेरी माँ है. एनीवेज, बात करेंगे इस पर और. चिपक कर सुनते रहिए आपका अपना रेडियो मिर्ची. चंद गाने उसके बाद इट्स बोले तो अशोक एंड शशि कमिंग बैक विथ यू ऑन सम मोर एग्रीकल्चरल टॉक्स हियर, दैट टू इन द यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स. मिर्ची मॉर्निंग्स पर मिर्ची मेहमान सुन रहे हैं आप. विद बोले तो अशोक मेहमान सुन रहे हैं आप. और आज हमारे साथ हैं, मैं क्या कहूँ इन्हें, आईटी वाला बंदा कहूँ या एग्रीकल्चर वाला बंदा कहूँ. वेल, ही इज अ कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ बोथ एंड वी हैव शशि कांत वल्लम हियर विद अस. Shashi, so now tell us, what is it that you do in agriculture here in the United States? और कहाँ करते हैं आप? Where all do you do? I would say this is more of in English because शशि कांत की हिंदी जो है वो थोड़ी सी टाइट है. So let's hear out from Shashi. Please, Shashi. Yeah.
Right. If you look back, a lot of people say that agriculture is the most loss-making business, right? And agriculture is considered more as a service than money-making business.
Absolutely, it's very unpredictable.
Yeah. And anybody and everybody who's making money in agriculture is more with the appreciation of the land.
Correct.
Which is very true.
Yeah, it actually is, yes.
Right. And my target or my vision is to make agriculture a profitable venture. It's not that I'm trying to do something drastically different, which anybody else have not done it. All that I'm trying to do is, as an individual farmer, there are limited funds. There are risks that an individual farmers can't take.
Correct.
There is a level of experience that an individual farmer would miss when they're doing it alone. So in our business model, we bring collective capital, a lot of capital from multiple people at a smaller amounts so that the risk is spread all over. At the same time, with all the professional way of farming, we look at diversification within the farming. We just don't do one set of farms. While I love sitafal growing, we don't do just sitafal farming. We diversify into sitafal, lychee, longan, a lot of tropical long-term fruits. At the same time, we look into the smaller short-term crops like cucumber. We are heavily into precision farming. Our greenhouses back in Florida, we are about 5.5 acre greenhouses, which is equivalent to growing 30 acres on the ground.
Oh.
Right. And it's a highly electronically automated, optimized for saving labor, saving resources. And we are selling all of these cucumbers into large stores like Walmart, H-Mart, Lotte, and all these supermarkets. Right?
Wonderful.
Yeah. So the combination is what really makes a big difference. 1 year completely we may go down because of natural calamities and whatever. Because of the collective capital, we are able to hold on and then move on to the next year and then make it big, right? Unlike individual farmer, a big loss in 1 year, it takes multiple years for them to get back.
Yeah.
So this is where our combination of collective capital, excellent vision on what is required in the United States, what is required in the market, and execution on the ground. I'm a full-time farmer on the ground, full-time CEO, founder of the company. My job is to make this happen.
Correct.
Right. Unlike people who are into hobby farming, the interest levels goes down based on the issues that may happen on the ground. 1 year of loss, it'll be demotivating, and they'll get back to their jobs.
Yeah, because that loss is not a small one. It's a huge loss.
Right. And we have really structured with a thought of different diversifications.
Okay.
If your long-term crops taking a lot of time, your short-term crops are giving revenues. Short-term crops are making loss because of the hurricanes. You have other businesses which are like growing short-term nurseries, like growing trees, growing plants like jasmines, parijat, and a lot of Indians love these plants.
Of
so
course.
we are into multiple of these diversifications. We are also into selling farmland at a smaller pieces, which means that somebody who wants to buy a land here will have to look at a 50 acre, 100 acre, that gets into millions.
Right.
But somebody who wants to buy something at 20,000, 25,000 have no chance to get into this. So we structure syndication such a way that individual small investors can get into the larger deals, and together as a group, we are winning in this.
Perfect. So it doesn't mean it's not necessary here with Shashi and their group that you need to have a big chunk of land. You got smaller pockets. They have something for you. It's kind of a place where you can actually see your dreams come true.
Right.
Shashi, I have a quick question, and before I jump out of this link and we come back again, farming or growing these fruits or vegetables that we grew up eating and seeing and knowing and studying. How did that occur to your head? I mean, that you would want to start. You just said सीताफल.
Yep.
I do not know last यहाँ पे सीताफल मैंने कब सुना होगा किसी के मुंह से, but you guys are doing it, right?
Exactly.
You are also producing gongura.
Gongura, yeah. That's
Right.
right. That's
So
right.
everything here in the United States.
Everything in the
How
United
did this occur to your mind?
In terms of gongura, that's where we started growing. It's a very quick crop, and it's loved by all the Indians
Correct.
from various states. And it's an easy crop to grow. At the same time, it's difficult to transport because of the leaf, right? And so we looked at logistics in terms of growing and transportation and making it available to the end customer in few hours from the harvest.
Oh,
Right, so that's how we look into gongura, and we also got into moringa. Moringa is sajan.
I've never heard of this, honestly.
Moringa is drumsticks.
Okay, drumsticks, of course. Huh?
Drumsticks. So moringa has taken a good place in overall diet of most of the people in the world because of its excellent nutritional values, and it has a lot of iron and many other nutritions. And we started growing them, and it's a very tough crop to grow and transport. So we have figured out very good logistics for that. Coming to sitafal, I grew up in my childhood eating a lot of sitafal. It's a wonderful fruit and loved by everybody. When I looked around, I couldn't find any place, any store that sells a good quality sitafal. Right, that's when I realized that if I want to enjoy, I have to grow it. And when I looked around, everybody would love to eat sitafal.
Of course, who wouldn't? Yeah.
Right, so that's where we got into about 10 to 13 acres of sitafal land farm, and we just started planting a lot of them.
I'll talk to Sasi about where all does he do this farming here in the United States. लेकिन उसके पहले जरा आपको बता दूं, मोरिंगा जो है उसके बिना सांबर अधूरी है. और सीताफल अगर आपको समझ में नहीं आया तो उसे हम कहते हैं कस्टर्ड एप्पल. मिर्ची मॉर्निंग्स पर मिर्ची मेहमान है हमारे सशी यहाँ पर. I'll hold on to a few songs. We'll come back again and talk a little bit more about the kind of agricultural land that Sasi has here in the United States. कौन से वो states हैं और क्या इनकी further planning है. चिपककर सुनते रहिए आपका अपना रेडियो मिर्ची, क्योंकि मिर्ची हमारे आज के एक ऐसे शख्स जो कि आईटी से बिलोंग करते हैं. 25 साल अपनी जीवन के इन्होंने आईटी को दिए हैं, बट नाउ ही इज इनटू एग्रीकल्चर, एंड द बेस्ट पार्ट इज दैट इट इज अ कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ आईटी एंड एग्रीकल्चर. इनके दिमाग से इन्होंने यहाँ पर यूएस में बहुत सारी ज़मीन इन्होंने ली है, बहुत सारे लोगों को इन्होंने साथ में इकट्ठा किया है और एग्रीकल्चर को एक अलग लेवल पर लेके गए हैं. भारत में उगी हुई जितनी सब्जियां हैं, जितने फल हैं, वो आप तक ये यहाँ यूएस के अंदर पैदा करके आप तक पहुँचाते हैं, और इनका नाम है ससी. ससी, सो एज वी गो अहेड, ऑलराइट, आई जस्ट वांट टू नो what states do you all have your farming land in?
So we totally have about 260 acres of land, 245 acres in Florida and 15 acres in Atlanta. We are expanding rapidly into all different states where we have lots of Indians. The reason we are focusing on Indians is that whatever we grow, we are focusing on Indian culture, Indian food habits. Right. And the 245 acres of land in Florida is distributed in multiple cities in Florida. Our corporate office is in Okeechobee, which is in the central to South Florida.
Yeah.
Right. And that's where we have greenhouses, and we have sitafal, lychee, longan, mango, Indian varieties of mango, sapote, and many other fruits that we all love.
Mango, मेरी कमजोरी पकड़ ली आपने. कौन से आपके पास आम है?
Alfonso, Super Alfonso, Kesar.
But that's it. मेरे को इतना ही सुनना था. Rest, I'm done now.
But then Banganapalli is something which is very, very interesting within India itself, and we are growing those too.
Wow.
Yeah.
And all of this is happening in Florida?
In Florida. Florida is the best of the weather, tropical weather, and that's where we're focusing all of our longer term tropical fruits.
Of course, I know that you would be looking at the weather and everything, but then any plans for Dallas?
Yes. So this trip, I've been meeting farmers and who are interested in working with us, partnering with us with their land and their execution on the ground. And we will be focusing on growing a lot of vegetables that we would like to eat, especially gongura, moringa, and tomatoes. Tomatoes, while you will find a lot of tomatoes across in the market, they are like breakfast tomatoes. The sour tomatoes, which we would like to have in our curries, are very hard to find. We would be focusing on those tomatoes. And mirchi, there are 20 different varieties of mirchi, and there are 4 top varieties of mirchi that we would be focusing on, along with brinjal, what we call in Telugu as wankaya.
या इन हिंदी में हम कहते हैं उसे बैंगन.
Bengan.
हाँ.
So different, and you would be surprised that there is the brinjal with thorns, where the thorns are extremely tasty.
Yes.
So we would be focusing on such variety of vegetables which are not easy to find in the stores. So
that means शशि यहाँ पर एग्रीकल्चर को भी अब इतना कॉम्प्लिकेटेड कर देंगे कि शॉपिंग जो हमारी 15 मिनट में ग्रोसरी शॉपिंग हो जाया करती थी उसके अंदर अब आराम से 45 मिनट लगेंगे, बिकॉज ये हर अलग किस्म के फल और सब्जियां जो हैं वो आप तक लेके आएंगे जिनके अंदर न्यूट्रिशन हो, जिसे कहते हैं ऑर्गेनिक हो, एक ऐसा टेस्ट जो कि आप पीछे छोड़ कर आए हैं, लेकिन वो शशि आपकी खामियां जो हैं वो पूरी यहाँ पर कर देंगे. डैलस में क्या आपके और प्लान्स हैं?
Dallas has exploded in terms of real estate market. We are already late in the game.
Right.
So at the same time, when we look at the farmlands, we are looking at places where we have possibilities of further appreciation. While we are waiting for the appreciation, we are going to grow all these vegetables there. And our interest is to bring those vegetables farm fresh within 24 hours. While 24 hours looks to be long, the vegetable that you're eating now is minimum 10 days old.
Absolutely.
Right?
I mean, not many people know that, I'm sure. Yeah.
Exactly. So by the time it's harvested in South American countries and shipped through the shipping containers,
It's transported, yeah.
distribution all over, by the time it comes to your plate, it's a minimum 7 to 10 days old.
Of course, it exchanges a lot many hands also out there.
Exactly.
Yes.
And the levels of pesticides that are used is uncontrolled because it's grown some in different locations where the controls are less. That's where we are trying to see how we could grow in as natural as possible, right? Organic is a name which everybody connects to, but at the same time, to handle pests, to handle nutrition deficiencies, we need to really structure a combination of organic practices and the safe practices. That's how in our practice, we strengthen the plant at the core by giving the right set of nutrition at the right time so that the plant fights the diseases on its own, and the need for spraying a lot of pesticides will go down. That's how we will call our food to be a safe food rather than giving any attributes like organic or any other attributes.
In fact, the best thing and the best part of it, what I liked was reaching the consumer, the vegetables or fruits, reaching the consumer in 24 hours. That in itself, trust me, मैं सारे listeners को बताना चाहूँगा कि खाने का आपका टेस्ट जो है ना, वो आसमान और धरती के बीच का जो फासला है उसे कवर करेगा. क्योंकि जैसे कि शशि ने बताया, तकरीबन 10 दिन पुरानी होती हैं ये वेजिटेबल्स जो हम आज खा रहे हैं, और पता नहीं कितने हैंड्स इन्होंने एक्सचेंज करे हैं, पता नहीं कितने पेस्टिसाइड्स इनको उगाने में इस्तेमाल किए गए हैं, लेकिन ये जिस तरह से सोच रहे हैं, इस सोच को ही लेकर आना जिंदगी में बहुत बड़ी बात है. We will continue talking to Sasi. Before I sign off, it's going to be my another link coming in wherein I want to learn a little more about agriculture, and I'm sure कि आप सब भी जानना चाहेंगे कि आप इसका हिस्सा कैसे बन सकते हैं. मिर्ची मॉर्निंग्स पर बोले तो अशोक के साथ मिर्ची मेहमान है हमारे शशि, who is talking about agriculture here in the United States. थोड़ी सी हटकर बातें हो रही हैं. मैं शशि से बातें कर रहा था मिनिमल पेस्टिसाइड वाले वेजिटेशन की, मैं बात कर रहा था फ्रूट्स की, मैं बात कर रहा हूँ सारी चीज़ों की, और मेरे मुंह में बहुत सारा पानी आ रहा है. फ्राइडे है, फ्राई ये है, एंड इट खाने की जब बातें हों, और वो भी अगर आज के दौर में हम बात करें ऑर्गेनिक की, तो हर किसी के कान खड़े हो जाते हैं. वी डू नॉट माइंड पेइंग दैट एक्स्ट्रा बक अगर उस पैकेज पे अगर ऑर्गेनिक लिखा है या फिर शेल्फ पे अगर ऑर्गेनिक लिखा है, लेकिन इज दैट इनफ? ये जानेंगे हम शशि से. साथ ही साथ मैं शशि, आई जस्ट वांट टू नो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, you told us about your land, you've already told us what you're doing right now. I first of all want to know the team behind this, what's the strength? That's the first question I have. The second one I would want to know is your vision. Where do you look at yourself? Because this is not an easy thing that you are doing.
Absolutely. So we are 113 people strong at this point of time. 113 are the investors who have invested into the company.
Wow.
And I'm the founder and CEO of the company. And this company is run much more transparent way with a group of 4 more directors along with me. These directors are nothing but they are the investors who have invested money into the company. Right? And with all of us strong team, we are expanding quite big. And our vision in 2027 to become public. and to have a farming company in public with assets of land. So that's like a new thing. That's like a big thing. That's what we are targeting for.
That's absolutely next level. We wish you all the very best with that. So a team of 130 now. I also would want to understand how is it that you all do the groundwork? Do you all leave it on the farmers who actually own the land, or how does that logistic work?
So we are the farmers.
Okay.
So with the money that we raise as capital from the investors, we buy the farmland.
Okay.
When looking at the farmland, we look at how productive it is, what are the crops already there in that. Instead of taking a barren piece of land and trying to cultivate it, we pick up something which is already productive with the right infrastructure, and then just change the trees. For example, we pick up an orange grove and then remove the orange trees and put sitafal, mango, lychee, longan, so that the irrigation already exists, the infrastructure already exists. That's how we start with that. So the identification of the land, I do it on the ground, and we discuss within the directors, discuss within the group of advisors within the large team that we have. Everybody contributes voluntarily because everybody is driven by passion of agriculture in this. They're not a paid people. I'm the only one on the ground who's running the show, but I have 20-member workforce on the ground who are Spanish, and we have a Spanish-speaking manager. We have infrastructure like tractors and electronic automation. So we run it like a corporate, nothing less than a corporate company.
Wonderful. So, I mean, what I understand is, for example, you acquired a piece of land, and that land already had some plantation out there. So we know that, it's wo upjao hai. That's already, you can grow something there which is fruitful.
Right.
So you've just changed the crop.
Yes.
All right.
Right.
That's
most of the lands would be like that. So that's how we save a lot of time and effort, right? So rather than getting into a barren land and start putting up the wells, it takes a time. Time is money.
Correct.
So that's how we start with these existing lands, which are existing farms.
Perfect. Do you all do any soil tests or something?
Yeah, and one big test would be the trees that are already growing, and we also get into the technical way of analyzing the soil. Any nutritional deficiencies, we amend the soil with the necessary nutrients, and then we start growing into that.
Perfect. So have you laid your hands? I'll again, time and again, I'll come back on Dallas. I'll come back on Texas. So have you done anything, any homework, any research apart from meeting farmers, and have you done anything on the soil over here? Do you think that we can have gonguras and maybe mangoes, alfonsos, and kesar here in Dallas?
Within Dallas, if you look at the weather, you have freeze, you have cold weather.
Correct.
And none of the tropical trees would grow in the cold weather. That's how we will focus on the short-term crops like gongura, moringa, tomatoes, anything that grows within 3 months, 4 months span of time.
Okay.
Right. So I've looked at the lands, very good lands that they are available here, and it's just a matter of which land, proximity to the locations, and that's what we are working on here. I'm working with the local Indian farmers who are already growing certain crops, and we're trying to look at the partnerships with them.
Perfect. So your vision 2027, going public.
Yeah, absolutely.
In agriculture.
In agriculture.
That's an amazing vision, Sasi. Anything else that you would want to tell our listeners?
Absolutely. While we are into farming, I would encourage everybody to have a home garden back home and start growing something. The output of the home garden is not just a tomato. It's the mental peace, mental happiness that you all get. The bonus is a tomato that you would make out of it.
Hi, wonderful. I like the way you've placed this thing. Yes, the bonus is the vegetable, whatever you would get out of it. बहुत सही कहा इन्होंने कि अगर आप घर से gardening अगर आप करते हैं, obviously it takes off a lot of your stress. It gives you peace, and of course, end of the day, it gives you a fruit.
Absolutely. And we have a 75,000 member group on Facebook, which is Indian Farms and Gardens in USA.
Oh, Indian Farms and Gardens in USA.
In USA.
Do not forget this. Please go on to Facebook and follow कीजिए इसे. I'm sure कि बहुत सारी चीज़ें आपको यहाँ पर सुनने को, देखने को, समझने को मिलेंगी. Sashi, but you were saying something. I just wanted to, make clear of the Facebook page. Yes.
Yeah. This Facebook page is used for discussions on how to grow our Indian-specific vegetables. It's the page that I would administer, but at the same time contributed by all the members. It's as an individual, I have certain amount of knowledge, but as a group, we have enormous knowledge.
Of course.
If you have a question on my tomato plant is wilting, here is my picture. What do I do with this? You have 10 people answering that with the right set of steps to be taken care for that. It's a group. It's a lovely group where everybody loves to contribute, share pictures. When you're in a group like this, you are motivated to grow your own vegetable. And the best part is your children, who's hooked onto the electronics, who's hooked onto the screens.
Correct.
They can be motivated to go out into the garden and grow a lot of vegetables that they can cut and eat. I have seen children who enjoys that fruit rather than the vegetable that comes from outside. It's a great win-win for everybody.
Now, Sasi, is that a circle that we are getting back into? So we started as farmers, our ancestors and everybody, we evolved, we went into businesses, into IT, all of it. And is it that we are coming back to farming?
Yes. So if I have to put a small tagline, let's go farming, let's get to our roots. That's the tagline that I always use.
Let's go farming. That's nice. That is really nice. So once again, one more time, the name of your Facebook page. I want every listener to listen to it very carefully.
Indian Farms and Gardens in USA.
Indian Farms and Gardens in USA.
Yes.
गौर कीजिएगा, इस पे जाके फॉलो कीजिए. बहुत कुछ है जो कि आप वहाँ पर सीख सकते हैं. It's about time right now that we say tada goodbye to Shashi. Thank you so very much for coming here. In fact, मैं शशि को बार बार बुलाते रहूँगा क्योंकि बहुत सारी इन्फॉर्मेशन है एंड 1 घंटे का टाइम बहुत कम टाइम है जानने के लिए, समझने के लिए. बिकॉज I have been talking to him off air and I would continue talking to him off air. But, the rest of the information, I would want Sashi, you to be back with us, sometime whenever you're in Dallas so that we could talk more about Let's Go Farming.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for this opportunity, Ashok.
Thank you, Sashi. You have a wonderful one. और आप लोग do not forget to have a wonderful weekend. Monday की सुबह आपसे मैं मुलाकात करूंगा. तब तक अपना ख्याल रखें. मस्त रहिए, सुनते रहिए आपका अपना रेडियो मिर्ची, क्योंकि मिर्ची सुनने वाले ऑलवेज खुश.